Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to podcast number 10 in the epic series of Phil Wolter's adventures in Antarctica. This episode is called Not the Low Tongue.
Not low tongue.
Not Low Tongue.
Please don't get the wrong impression of that title.
Really, what impression would I get on that, Phil? It sounds like something out of a Vietnamese recipe book.
It could be. Ask me a question.
A question. What is this all about, Phil?
Pete, it's been a while since we've done a dog adventure.
Another dog adventure?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, this is another dog adventure. Let's get into it. What, you woke up one morning, decided to go and have an adventure with the dogs.
It was a nice day.
Oh, it was a nice day. What time are we talking about in the morning?
Oh,
'Cause this
probably about 7ish or something like that.
AM?
AM, yes.
Okay.
That's
What year?
morning.
What time of the year?
November, mid-November.
So starting to warm up a bit, going
Starting
into
to warm up.
summertime. Yep.
Days are getting longer.
Days are getting longer.
Really
Sounds like a
good.
song.
Yes,
Along around the nights are blue. No, never mind.
please. Anyway, I thought, a trip, because the night before someone had told me there's this place called Low Tongue.
Low
I
tongue.
said, it's pretty scenic.
Is it?
You'd get out there.
Okay, so is it on inland, or is it on the sea ice, or is it somewhere in
It's
between?
a rocky outcrop jutting out from the ice cliffs of the coastline. And it's
Off the coastline?
Yeah. There's about 23 kilometres west of Mawson. Was that
West?
miles or kilometres?
So that's
West,
going
west.
towards Africa, South
Yes,
Africa.
that
Okay, because
direction.
just getting to the west suburb.
Yep.
Okay. So you decided, somebody made a sketchy thing. There's something over there called the Low Tongue.
Yes.
And you
They thought it looked pretty good.
looked pretty good. And you just thought, oh, well, it's a lovely day. Let's go.
Yes.
23 miles there,
Yes.
23 miles back. So it's a reasonable hike.
Pretty reasonable.
Okay.
Height. So my old mate Gloom,
Oh, you're
aka John Tibbetts,
Yes.
MetTech,
MedTech.
he thought it would be a good idea too.
Okay.
And then Graham the Glacio wanted to come.
Glaciologist for those untechnical.
Yeah.
Right. He's the guy who didn't predict the great big boom we had the other podcast, where the thing just exploded and nearly caused a major disaster.
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't expect him to either.
Okay, just checking. That is George.
And then George, who was a diesel, we always called him George the Pond.
George, the diesel mechanic.
the diesel mechanic.
Right, just checking.
He wanted to come. Okay, 4 of us.
Okay.
Great.
On one sled.
Well, because there was 4 of us, we thought let's saddle up 2 teams and 2 sleds.
So you got 4 guys and 2 teams of dogs.
Correct.
Do you just unclick the dogs and stick them all in a group? Now, is it a fan one or is it a long line with dogs on the side?
Always fan, and there was 2 distinct teams.
Oh, okay. An Alpha and a Bravo team?
Yeah, Lars and Richard team.
Oh, 5 dogs in each team?
7 to 8 we normally talk.
So that's quite a big fan, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And why can't you mix them together?
Well, they tend to fight a lot.
Oh, of course. But you told me, you've told me every time you take the dogs out, they like to fight a lot anyway.
Good point.
And you didn't tell us that there was 2 separate teams. You said we took the dogs out.
All right.
So you're getting more experience now. You sort of know what you're doing.
Yes.
So are they on different chain lines?
I can't remember, to be honest, whether they probably were. So we settled up the 2 teams with their respective dogs and the different teams.
Yeah.
We didn't mix them up because even though they fight a lot, they would fight even
A lot,
more.
yeah. They're more aggressive with each
if
other.
that's possible.
They're trained as a
Yeah.
team? You said they were trained as a team?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
And the reason that Lars tended to train one team, and Richard, who was our cook and also the assistant dog handler, trained the other.
Do you sort of apply to take the dogs out?
We don't apply, but we make sure everybody knows.
So Lars could go to Lars, we want to take the dogs out on Sunday. Or what day it is. He's the boss of the dogs.
Well, yes. But, if you say I want to take dogs out,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
take,
That's
unless
the
there
same.
was a really good reason why not, which didn't generally happen, you took the dogs out.
Okay.
You would do the preparation beforehand anyway. Make sure, so the night before we have sleds ready, full survival gear goes into the sleds, and they're ready to go the next day.
And what about dog food? You take the dog food with it?
That's part of the survival gear.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you and Gloom are one team? And
No.
Oh, sorry.
Gloom and I were the most experienced.
Oh, you're the leaders. You're the dog team.
So
You're the dog
I
handlers.
went with Graham the Glacier,
Okay.
and Gloom went with George.
Right. Okay. So you get up early. The dogs are ready. You've hitched them all up.
Yes.
And then what's the first word you use?
Mush.
Mush. And the dogs explode out in a direction, which you have to somehow work out.
The way we did that, you'd yell out right. In our case, our lead dog was Dan. I think theirs was Norma.
Dan, it wasn't Norma the great matriarch?
She was, but she was also the lead dog for
Okay.
a lot of the time.
Yeah, so she's a smart one. They're a smart
She
dog.
was very smart.
Yeah.
Dan, and I'd yell out, right Dan, or left Dan. Now in this case we're heading out and we had to turn left to head west. You
Yeah,
had
there's-
to be specific
yeah,
with the commands because that's how they were trained.
Yeah, because that's
So
what I'm
it
saying.
was
They've got to be clear because they've got to understand what you mean.
Yes.
And that's,
So left Dan,
Yep.
lefty we go.
so what if is that 90 degrees left or is it just sort of a slide left?
Well, that's
You know.
that was up to him.
Okay. And he sort of communicated with his team and they just did what he did.
Yes,
sort of
they
followed.
followed him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're heading off west.
Yes.
Do you have a map?
That's another story.
Did you have a radio with you?
Oh, we had a radio.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Phew, tick.
But the map, we thought, well, you don't normally need a map on the sea ice because there's only two directions to go. Up the coast or down the coast. Let's get specific. We're heading west.
Okay, heading west. Do you run on a compass or you just sort of follow the sun?
No, you didn't need any compass or anything. There's the coast,
Okay. And you just follow it down that way.
and you follow it in a westerly direction.
Until you find some sort of formation that you think, oh, that's got to be it.
That's the idea.
And it's about
yes.
20 miles away. Ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Ish.
So off we went.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
All going well. In fact,
Clear weather, no wind.
beautiful morning.
Okay.
The ice surface was really hard and slippery.
Oh, so you just...
And the dogs were really keen that day.
Mm-hmm.
And they set off at an almighty pace. Off we went.
Okay, so sorry, is one person strapped onto the sled or you're both running?
No, in this case, they were going so fast we both sat on the sled.
Okay.
And same with the other team.
So you're just sort of going for the ride now. The
Yeah.
dogs are having a great day.
When I say sat on the sled,
Okay.
we put fiberglass boxes. That was our method.
Oh,
And
so
they-
do you
that-
put a little cushion or something on it just to...
No.
Okay. Freeze?
You had plenty of cushion with the clothes you were wearing.
Okay.
And so we sat on these fiberglass boxes when conditions were good enough that they could pull the weight of two people. And they were really good this
So
particular day.
when was somebody standing on the back?
When the ice is good and everything's going sweetly, you could both sit on the boxes,
Okay.
or someone could sit on the back. But there's a slightly more drag if someone was on the back because you're
Digging
flexing the skids down a little bit at the back,
Okay.
just slight.
Okay. So you're heading off west at a cracking pace.
Oh, really cracking pace.
The dogs were happy.
The
Everybody
dogs
was
were
happy. They
really
weren't
happy.
fighting.
Not fighting. They
weren't-
were having a great time because this sled was just moving so easy.
So it was just a breeze for everybody.
Breeze for everybody.
So how long do you guys keep running for? Do you just run
Well, we might-
hours and hours or just sort of a good
Yeah,
hour?
I think for the first hour, they just didn't stop unless we stopped for a drink, which we had to do because they would get thirsty.
So you basically, whoa, is that the word?
No, we steered them. We'd look around for good quality snow.
And what does that look like?
White.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. I think I went over it. It was like good quality snow because if it's got salt in it, it's.
Well, actually, it's still white when it had salt in it, and you had to watch out. So we'd actually do a quick taste test before we let them drink it,
Yeah.
or actually eat it. If they're coming up to snow and they were thirsty, you didn't even have to tell them.
They'll just grab it.
Whoa, they just stop and get stuck into the snow. Didn't take them long, and then we're off again.
Okay. So it's quite a good pace, a real cracking
We were
pace.
going at a cracking pace.
Yeah.
Now, because we're just sitting on the sled rather than generally running, you get a little bit cold.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we're not keeping on moving.
So I thought, I'm going to go for a run. Jumped off. And that caused them with a loss of weight. They weren't even fast. And I thought, geez.
Yeah, so you're going to get stuck in the island.
Both teams were off in the distance.
And
I thought,
your friend wasn't really as competent driving it as you were.
that's right,
Okay,
yeah.
so he's going,
He was probably laughing, I don't know.
Oh.
Anyway, I had to sprint full pace as fast as I could possibly go.
Yeah.
And do a running dive back onto the thing and just made it. And I thought, I was warm enough by then.
It must be one of those funny things. I wish you had a skidoo with a film camera to watch you. La la la, everything's going great. I'll just go for a run. Whoa!
You could have got some great films if you'd set yourself up with those sorts of things.
So you're cracking along. I mean, what sort of pace does the dog team do? I mean, it's like 5-10 kilometres an hour?
Well, how fast can you sprint?
Well, not that fast. Not as fast as you could. But, you know.
Well,
10
they were
now?
going just about as fast as I could sprint flat out in my early 20s.
So about 15 k's
Well,
now?
I don't think I could. I don't
Kilometres now. We're talking about kilometres,
Yeah, whatever a sprint speed is, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's say 10 kilometres an hour, maybe. That's a full sprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're really moving along. You cover some serious kilometres now,
Yes.
miles. Let's move on. You're
Okay.
growing along at a roaring rate. You're having a great time.
And what could possibly go
What
wrong?
could possibly go wrong?
Well,
Well, hello. Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever mentioned the saga of Franken Penguin.
I think I've seen the pictures. It
You've
was
seen
very
the
gruesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Franken Penguin.
Or Francine penguin. We couldn't be sure.
This most savage Adelie penguin in all of Antarctica.
Well, the ones you've met anyway.
No, I think it was the savagest. This penguin jumped out of a seal hole. The seals would dig holes in the sea ice so they can come up and breathe, and the penguins use these holes. This one leapt up, and he happened to be right in front of us as a full dog team was coming straight at him. Mm-hmm. So what would a penguin do?
Well, you'd naturally think they'd just jump down the hole again and
You
hide.
would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Franken penguin had other ideas. He thought he, or could have been she,
Yeah.
would attack the dog pack.
Attack the dog pack.
Attack the dog.
This is your dog pack, not the other dog pack.
No, they were somewhere else.
Okay, you'd lost them already.
Well, what is going on here?
So how's he just? Is he pecking at him? Is he screaming at him?
he was going at them because they'd lunge at him and bit of blood going around.
On them or you? Or them or the dogs?
On the penguin.
Okay, so he got.
It didn't really hurt him because you're just biting through this thick layer of blubber, and the penguin wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Now, I had to race up. Long story short, after a great battle, I managed to hold the penguin down. I said, "Graham, take
You're
it off."
attacking the penguin.
I'm
I'm
just holding the penguin down innocently.
Oh God!
I said, "Get the dogs out of here." So he took off with the dogs. I pushed the penguin aside, and he came back for me. He's going to have a go. What?
So how big is this penguin?
Typically, they'd be 70 centimetres high or about 21 inches.
That's ridiculous. He was bigger than that.
Adelie penguins aren't all that big.
Well, the emperor penguins are pretty darn
Yes,
big.
but Adelie penguins are a lot smaller.
So this is a pint-sized penguin you could use like a footy or a rug footy ball, and you tackling this thing to keep him away from the dogs.
I'm
Or the
going
dogs away
to
from
I'm
him.
going to put a link in to this YouTube so people can see what actually happened. Well, sort of what actually happened.
There's no photographic evidence. It's all hearsay.
I got photographic of it.
Okay.
Anyway, for those just watching the podcast, long story short, I managed to get the penguin clear, do another flat-out sprint to get back to the dogs.
Yeah, because he's racing off with the dog team.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to stop them. They just keep on.
Well, he did.
Learn a few words.
Now, yeah, one of the problems here was if he yelled whoa, they would probably go even faster.
Oh, really? They're not listening to the right command. They're just saying, he's not the boss, he's not the alpha, we don't have to listen to him.
That's right.
We can do what I want.
Program. Yeah, well, what happened, because they weren't used to his voice, Dan, the lead dog, the most mischievous dog you could have, he would do the opposite. So I might say, right, Dan, and then Graham had this habit to yell out after me, right, Dan.
Because he didn't think poor old Dan could hear him properly.
Yeah. I watched Dan. He looked around over his shoulder and he had this fiendish grin and then do exactly the opposite.
From Graham.
From Graham. So if I yelled on my own, he would obey me. If Graham repeated, which he always did, he would do the opposite.
Wow, that must be so frustrating because you're going, let's go left. And you go, what are we going right for? How did you stop for the penguin? You just sort of saw him or just were travelling that way and he literally just blinked?
Well, the dogs were shocked at first. So, because this doesn't normally happen. The penguin leaps out right in front of them. So
it's quite a spectacle because they can really jump quite high, can't they?
Yeah. And then once the dogs realise it's just a penguin,
it's just a
then
penguin.
we had to race around and
Try and
control
keep
them.
on track,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
as we're moving along,
The ice is progressively getting worse.
when you mean more unstable, more?
Yeah, holes in it.
Yeah.
The general conditions are worse for some reason. I don't know why. That the ice tended to be affected by melting a bit faster than when you went east.
So are we on the sea ice or are we inland on the land?
We're on the sea ice.
Okay, so that's got all sorts of things that will affect it,
Yes.
like tides and whatever else.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay, we're still scooting along, but we're starting to slow down a bit.
Yeah, we're getting towards the middle of the day. Now, as we're going along, we're a fair way out to sea. Okay, on the ice. And we looked in the distance, and there was this little bit of a scungy, rocky outcrop.
Oh, that's it there.
In the distance, there was quite a large outcrop with islands around it. And it said, maybe that's low tongue.